Welcome to another JSWIFT tutorial. In this session, we will be looking at the permit application for the JACRA regulated commodities. Now, JACRA regulates coffee, cocoa, coconut, and some spices such as pimento, turmeric, ginger, nutmeg, and also oil-producing seeds. Now, in this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to apply for a permit for the importation of these items. Now, in order to apply for the permit, our first step, you must navigate to the dashboard menu options, select the option Permit and New. When you select the option New, the application form will appear. Select the regime type option, Import. When you select Import, the system will autofill some of the fields on your general information page. Now, there are 4 pages that you'll be required to review. These are the general information page, the item details page, the attachment page, and the fees page. Now, on the general information page, it basically captures who it is that is trading. So, you would realize that it will identify the applicant name, the importer name, and ask you to enter the exporter details. The first field that you're required to fill in is the process region. Now, the process region identifies the location of the government office that will be processing this application. The next thing, you must enter the trader details, which is the name of the person completing the application, contact number, the 10-digit contact number, and an email address that you can be reached at, or the system can communicate relevant details through to you. Right? So that's the email address, exporter details, and for international trade, we use the full address. So we have completed our general information page. We identified our process region. We identified the name of the applicant and applicant details. We also entered our exporter details. Now we would go to the next page. You can navigate to the next page by either clicking on the word, just item details, which is our next page, or you select the option next, and that will take you to the next page. Our next requirement is to identify the process type. Now, the process type refers to the service that you're requesting from the system. Now, there are 5 options available for the JACRA permit. These are agricultural commodity import permit coffee products, agricultural commodity import permit general items, agricultural commodity import permit natural coconut water, agricultural commodity plant import permit, agricultural commodity plant import permit coffee beans. Now, to note, which is very important, is that for the coffee products and the coffee beans, these products require that the trader obtain a license to trade in these products. The trader is also required to submit an application in the JSWIFT system for their quota amount. Now, the quota will dictate the amount of this commodity that can be imported by the trader. So if persons are trading in coffee products or green coffee beans, they're required to first apply for a quota license, right? And prior to that, you must be a registered person or a licensed person to trade. And then when you access the system, you'll be able to request your quota for the period. Now, once you select on any of the coffee options, which is the coffee products or the coffee green beans, if you notice, I click on it, coffee products, it requires that you enter the license reference, and that would have been a procedure prior to this application. So for more information, you can look at the tutorial video that speaks about how to apply for a JACRA license for coffee and coffee products. The next one, general items. If you notice, there is no requirement for a license for general items. Now, general items speak specifically to manufactured products that has the regulated commodity as a part of the ingredient, right? So once it is that regulated commodity is included in the ingredient of the product, then there is a requirement for you to apply for the JACRA import permit using the general items option. Natural coconut water, if you notice, this process type, although related to the regulated commodity, it has its own process type. Now, when this application is submitted, it is processed by both the JACRA assessors and the assessors at the Ministry of Agricultural Services Unit. So this application will go through 2 government agencies prior to you receiving your permit. The next one is Agricultural Commodity Plant Import Permit. The Agricultural Commodity Plant Import Permit allows the trader to import commodities that are regulated by JACRA that appear in the plant form or seed or root in its natural form, not manufactured or worked. So when I click on the product search, and if you notice that prior we did not have a product search, but all agriculture regulated items must be selected using the product search. Now these products, because they're in the plant form, they're regulated by both JACRA and the plant quarantine branch or plant quarantine and inspection branch. Now these products are also further regulated by the plant quarantine branch, whereby they maintain a registry or a registration of products for these items. Now, say for instance, I will enter ginger and I click search, which is the common name or the description. The list will tell me which countries we allow these products to be imported from. Now the trader is only required then to select choose, and then the system will autofill some of the boxes that are available to include the scientific name and intended use based on what is registered against this product that is selected. Now the next, so let me just finish that example. So when you select choose, then the system autofills, as you can see. Our next process type is Agricultural Commodity Plant Import Permit green beans. Now, if you notice, this is also a plant product. So prior to this, all the other plant-based products that are regulated by JACRA, you would use the previous option, which is plant import permit. However, the coffee green beans are regulated separately, and they must be referenced in their own category. So if I select coffee green beans, if you notice, I have the requirement for a license because it's coffee, and I have a product search where I can go ahead and I can enter coffee and select as well, right? Now, as said before, once it is a plant import permit, it must traders must use the plant search in order to select the products. Now, after you have selected your required process type, then your next option is to complete the form. Now, for our demonstration, we'll be using the option General Items, but the trader must ensure that they select the correct process type for the application being processed. So we select General Items, right? We're going to remove this option, and then we're going to speak some more about using General Items. Now, the system allows you to search for the commodity code using either a keyword or the HS code. Now, the HS code is an international description used in trade for products. And if it is in the system that the HS code or the keyword appears, then you can use either to search. So if I use a keyword and the keyword refers to the word being found in the description column, and because the system is able to identify the word in the description column, then it would display such. But this is not always the case. Sometimes the description is not spelled out in this manner. So the trader must ensure that they have the correct classification of the commodity so that they can use the commodity code to do the search, right? So once the commodity appears, again, as shown before, once you click choose, the system will autofill the required fields. So let's complete the form. Country of origin, and then we're going to include now the quantity. Now, if you notice that there's a statistical value that is to the right of the quantity box, which is tariff driven based on the commodity code that the system will display a statistical value. It can be in volumes of liquid measurement, which is liter, or it could be in weight, which is kgm, referring to kilogram. It could be a counting or unit measurement. So the option for numbers, which is NMB, may also be there. But in this scenario, we are seeing liters. So it means that we must enter the total volume of liquid for the item being traded. So let me correct. All right. So we are trading shampoo, and we must also note white is that we are requesting this permit, right? So along with the commodity code, your description must match what it is that you are importing. If you notice, I did not specify brands, but in the event that it is specific, then you can always enter that information. But what is critical is that you must have the correct commodity code as well as identify the regulated commodity that is found in the manufactured product. Or it may be one, it may be many, then you can put a list if it's more than one commodity. Now for the total volume of liquid, I'm going to enter the total amount. I'm also going to enter the delivery terms. So I'm going to select the delivery terms, item value. I will also enter the supplier details. Supplier is who it is that you're buying the goods from. It may or may not be the same as the exporter, but whatever the scenario is, then you enter the details accordingly. Right? Once you are finished with the supplier details, then the next step is that you must complete the boxes. But what will happen if you fail to complete any of the boxes? Now, if you fail to complete a mandatory field and you click add commodity, then the system will not allow the item to be added to the page. So if at any time you click on add commodity, you do not see all the boxes being available in a list, then it only means that you must review the page and update the required information. So there we have 2 mandatory fields not yet completed, indicated by those red lines. So it is asking, what is the number of packages? All right. So, and it could have been units. So the package type, you select the appropriate package type to match what it is that you are importing. Now here we have completed all our mandatory fields. The manufacturer section is not a mandatory requirement. We entered our process type, our commodity code. We identified the description of the commodity that we are importing and the regulated component of the product. We also looked at our origin country, the total volume or the amount that we're importing, and it must be noted that the quantity must never be understated, because this quantity is what your release will write off when the goods arrive. So traders must ensure that they do not understate their quantity amount. Enter the delivery terms, values, and the supplier details. Now when I click add commodity, if you notice the information appears on the list. This means that the information was added successfully. Now my next step is to add my additional lines. So there may be one or multiple commodities. Now if I select add new, then it will take me through the page and I would go ahead, select general items and complete as per usual. But there's another option that can be used to complete the application. So let's go back, view. You can also use the duplicate function. Now the duplicate function replicates the existing line and allows the trader to edit. Now once you edit, you can always go ahead and make the changes. And once you have made any change, could be whatever the case is, you must save changes. So once you make a change, you save changes and then you close, and then the change will be reflected. Now, if it is that you entered a line that should not be in, then you can click remove. So we have looked at duplicate, edit, and we looked at remove, and also the add new function. Let's go to our next page, which is our attachment page. The attachment page allows you to upload any supporting documents that you believe will support the assessor in reviewing your application. However, there are times when there are mandatory attachments. Now, if there are mandatory attachments, then you cannot submit the application without fulfilling the requirement. A mandatory attachment will be displayed in the blue column right here. Right where this line is, you will see the name of the mandatory requirement. If there's nothing there, it means that there are no mandatory requirements or uploads required. But it doesn't mean that the trader may not have information to add. So what if you have a product analysis that you are going to upload at this stage? Then you can always click upload, navigate to wherever you have the document saved, and upload and click to add. If you notice, the description column was there. But what is if there is a case where you want to attach a document and you're not seeing the required label? You can upload a document without a label. You click add new, then you click upload, you search for your required document, and this search takes you to your desktop, and then you click to add. Right? Click add. And all the listing of documents you add will be displayed. And if you want to view what you added, the view and the download buttons are available. Or if you want to remove a line because you added the wrong document, you can click on the bin to remove. Now we have completed our attachments if required, because in this case they are optional. We go to the next page, and once we have satisfied all the mandatory requirements, the system will automatically show us a successful verification. Accept, And now your options are, do you want to store or do you want to submit? Now, how do you know what to do? If you have not yet finished your application, meaning that you have additional lines or item lines to add, you can use the store button once you have at least one item added. What does one item added mean? It means at least one item is displayed on the item details page. Now, once that is done, let me go back to my fees page. I'll click on fees. You can store and then go back to the application, search for it, and add your remaining items. Now, you can also submit, but the submit button means I am finished and I'm ready to pay. You can make adjustments on a submitted application, but not after payment is made. So in my scenario, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to submit, and then we're going to look at what happens next. Submit application. Now, once you submit the application, you are given a registration reference. It says 2025, which is the year, PER, which is a document type, and 152, which is the reference number for this document. You have the option to go ahead and pay now. Now, the process is that you submit the application, you pay the processing fee, and then an assessor will look at the application. At the end, it will say finalize once processing is finished. Now, to learn the steps on how to pay, you can feel free to look at our documentation and tutorials on how to make a payment. Now, how do I search for a document that I submitted? How will I know my status? Now, you can always view your dashboard and it will tell the applications at the various stages, or you can go to search. We know our document type is permit. We know the year is 2025, PER 152, and once we click on search, our application will appear. We see our status saying registered. If we want to make any changes, we retrieve and we go to the page and then we are able to edit. However, after payment, you will need to seek permission or request the opportunity to make an amendment by asking the assessor to send the document to query. However, once you have not yet paid, then you can always make any changes, but you cannot add any additional line, only on stored documents. But once you make a change, you go to the last page, which is click on fees, and you must modify registered once you made a change. Some other things to note. This is how we close the document. Now, what if you have multiple documents and you want to see the status? Let's change the criteria. Let's look at all our permits. Let's look at all our permits. When I click search, these are all the documents I have at various stages. Registered. After payment, my status will show paid. And once the application is finalized, my status will say finalized. Finalized means that the assessor had looked at your application and they made a decision whether it was approved or rejected. Now let's look at the finalized application. When you click on view, you'll see the pages. You click to item details, it will tell the status of this item, approved, and then you're able to print your permit. Now please note, only approved items will be displayed on your permit. So if you have multiple items on your application and you have statuses that says rejected, it will not appear on your permit. Only approved items. Now how do we print our permit? We click on print. The system will download to your device and you will have your document so you can view. And all our documents come with a security feature, which is our QR scan. And here we go. That's our application completed. So to close the page again, we can close an item or we can close a page. Now that you know how to prepare your permit for your JACRA application, you can now go ahead and complete your permit application for your JACRA regulated commodity. Now you can go ahead and look at the video which speaks about the import permit release. This permit will allow you to pay your cess and receive clearance for customs at the port. Thank you so much for watching.